Okay, I'll bet nobody found this, so let me notify the rest of the world. Hang on one second here as I try to do both things. No idea why the software's not working tonight, but you know how that is. So let me go here and let everyone know that that ain't happening. Okay. New. Okay. I'm bailing out of that. And here I am. John Harper says, "What's up, buddy?" Jason in Missouri says, "First," except he was second. How's everybody doing? I'm sorry that, yeah, Jason says, almost, man, almost. Sorry that the other stream just doesn't want to work. So usually I use OBS Studios. And hey, Mr. Stamey's there. So Paul Smith, good to see you all in there. So normally I use OBS Studio, and so I'm out in the garage tonight. I actually tried to do this in my house, and I mistaken. Oh gosh, what a terrible error in judgment it was installing Windows 11, and I've been regretting that for the past 2 months. And I think today was the decision to go back to Windows 10 because it wouldn't recognize the camera. It kept saying it was in use by another item. Then it wouldn't tell me what program was using it, which makes me a little leery. So yeah, so with 15 minutes to spare, I ran out here to the garage and plugged everything in, and it said, "Yay, it's working!" And then I hit submit, and it said no. So here we are with just a webcam live stream, which actually is cool because the comments come in quicker. Maybe I'll just go back to the old ways. So how's everybody doing tonight? I hope you're all doing well. Somebody say radio giveaway. Hello from Texas, Nathan. You are correct. It is a radio giveaway. Pick me, pick me. God bless you, Mark. Josh Wilson, need a new radio. Right. So everyone needs a radio, and I'll get to it probably about 6:30. I'll do the giveaway. We've already picked the winner, so you can beg all you want. But Jen, so I'm biased, like there's some of you that are asking out there that that I recognize the names and I've chatted with for years now. And so I can't not pick you, so I let Jen, who is far less familiar with your names than I am, go through. We picked, I think it was 15 of the best comments, 15 of the best reasons why people wanted to get, a radio station of their own up and running. And she cut them up, put them into a baggie, shook them around, and here's what we ended up with. So I'll give that away at 6:30. So let's go on. CQDX, Connecticut, trying for Farpoint Farms. How you doing there, Metal Learner? Mayhem RV, people say breaker broke. Rip Dine Cola, what y'all got going on with that Predator engine? I put it, oh yeah, that is going into a Thunderbird mini bike. Yeah, I'm gonna be doing that as one of my summer projects. All projects here on the farm died a quick death the second that we decided to build the new studio. So since I think it was the first week of February that building was delivered. Since then, every weekend, every evening, every afternoon, it's all been just nothing but work, just working on the building, and great progress. So today we painted the ceilings, we painted the walls. The shop portion is all but done. So I built a ramp today, but so many of the boards from Lowe's were garbage that I've got 4 boards left to put on there because I'm returning the ones that were there. They were split or they were warped, just not good stuff. So, JD 144, sorry, man. Take care, bud. So, what I ended up doing was we did the ramp, most of it, and then I went in there. Jen had finished putting texture on the ceiling, and so we had to let that dry. But I primered the walls in the office, like the studio portion, not the shop portion, but the studio portion. So we did that today. Tomorrow we will paint the ceiling and put the first or maybe the only coat on the walls. And then next weekend, we're driving all the way down to Charlotte, North Carolina to go to an IKEA so we can buy some furniture. We were out last night until almost midnight. We went to Home Depot in Tennessee and got some tool, well, not some tools, but like an adjustable table. I'll do a video on it anyway. But yeah, so all work has stopped, man. So the Predator engine back there is the Macon Thunderbird. I bought this awesome mini bike, and I got a go-kart that was also a Thunderbird, and or Mako. I don't know what model that is, but got all this cool stuff, and I got 2 mowers that I want to fix up, but like everything is stopped. Not to mention the giant bus project. If you follow the other channel, you know that I've got like huge stuff going on there. But we figured we're going to pour our effort into getting that ready. Once it's ready, then things should be a lot smoother around here because like all the ATVs and go-karts and mini bikes and mowers and all those small engine builds are going to happen up there. All the radio videos for the most part will start happening up there, although I'll still have CB equipment down here in the garage because I like to play with CB even when I'm working on customer cars. I got the radio on listening for Skip or whatnot, and so that's what's going on. But yeah, how's that for a long answer for what's up with the Predator engine, huh? All right, let's see. Always strong in Europe. Good to see you, Primitive X. No Skip this weekend there. Bill D, I've watched many of your vids. First time live. Good to see you, Bill. I appreciate you becoming a fan of the channel. Rob Q, hello from Los Angeles. Stephen Praden, good evening from Central Pennsylvania. All Things Radio, hello, sir. Love your radio videos. It's funny, man. All Things Radio is like one of my feelings, one of my thoughts. I love All Things Radio. So people tend to know me on the internet as the CB guy. I've actually had somebody stop me who recognized me in the wild, let's say, and was like, "Hey, you're that CB guy." So yeah, sure. I'm also the mower guy and the tractor guy and the repair guy and 20 other guys, but I'm that guy. Whoever you want me to be, I'm your guy. So, but I love All Things Radio. I do Part 15 radios and I do shortwave stuff. So I love All Things Radio. Ham, you name it. So I love your name there, sir. Let's see. Two Bass Tracker, first time live as well. A lot of new names in here. Hello, Jay. Hello from Alberta, Canada. Joshua Seeley. Hello. Let's see. We got Bottom Line. Metal Lunar says, yeah, Bottom Line, you're the guy. Yeah, I'm the guy. 554 Central Oregon here. All right, babe. All Things Radio. Yes, CB, shortwave, and now ham radio stereo systems. All Things Radio. Yep. Yeah, bud. Nathan Stamen wants to know, have you used the noise canceling mic yet? I have not. Almost used it today. Let me get it. It's right here. That's from President, and I have not hooked it up. So I got to do a range. I'm not a range test, but I'm going to put it in the Volvo that I have. I have the President McKinley, which is a great radio, and I'm going to do a drive about 5 miles with various, like the fan on, the window down, that kind of stuff with the regular mic. And then, President's got this new noise canceling digital mic. And so I want to check that out too. So yeah, stick around for that one. I'll get around to it. Ari Michaelov, longtime lurker, first time live. Good to see you in there. Jody wants to know if anybody has an A99 for sale. Great antenna for base stations, man. If you're going to do it, and I know there's a lot of people who have their own opinions about base station antennas, and some people out there that are just not even a fan of Antrons, but SolarCon Antron A99 is probably the antenna to have if you're going to get into this and just want something you can put up and it works. You know what I mean? Maybe not the best, maybe not the worst, whatever. Let's see. Jeff Olson, Wisconsin. Hello, sir. McKinley. I have 2 of them. Yeah, right on Blue Collar Radio. Matt Walker saying, really enjoy your radio videos. Well, I appreciate that, brother. Caribou Outlaw. Good afternoon from British Columbia, Canada. You guys are probably still somewhat in the wintertime up there. Nathan Caperton, FYI, you got my wife into radio. Cool, man. I'm good to hear that, bud. I love getting anybody into radio. So, I go to these ham fests and I'm going to get into that here in a second. That I got some pretty big news on that. But I always try to get cheap radios and then give them out so that people who want to put one in their car can have one. They just got to buy an antenna after that. If I can find antennas, I'll do that as well. So hey, look, let's talk about the first thing I want to cover tonight, and that is Dayton, Ohio. I think it's like the 15th, 14th. I can't remember what date it is. When is Ham Nation or Hamcation or whatever it is? When is the Dayton Ham Fest? Because I'm going to be there on that Saturday. I've been asked to come, and I'm going to be wandering around. So if you happen to see me there, I would be happy to shake hands and maybe have lunch with some of y'all. So I don't know if any of you are going to that. It's a very long drive for me, but I was able to work it out for one day. So I'll be there. I'll be there on Saturday. So I hope some of you will be there. See you, Nathan. Good. Take care, buddy. It's funny because of YouTube and channels like yours, I got interested in playing with good old radio. Yeah, and it's kind of cool. Like I love the fact that like my hobbies, I just decided to start broadcasting my hobbies, and I've gotten so many people interested in them that it's really made my hobbies more fun. I like that. And I think that I think that that's what's cool about hobbies, is that getting other people excited about stuff that you're excited about is always cool. Paul says he wants to get his ham license, but he's having a hard time finding a group in Michigan. Keep at it, my friend. They're out there. Some areas are more popular than others, obviously. Let's see. Dennis Tate saying 73s. Appreciate your gentle kindness, teaching, and inviting friendly Southern style. Well, I appreciate that, man. Those were some kind words. Yeah, I'm pretty laid back. I don't get too wound up here very often. Maybe once or twice a year at most. Joe's random channel, is it the 19th or something like that? I think that might be on a Saturday too. Kind of depends on the kid's schedule. Right. Hamvention will be held May 19th, 20th, and 21st. So if it's the Saturday is the 20th, I'll be there on the 20th. So if anybody wants to, keep an eye out for me, you're welcome to. I'm just going to be, hanging out. I'm going to be, I'm sure, hauling stuff back and forth to the car. So, but I wanted to go to RARS Fest in Raleigh in April, and I wasn't able to because of business. But this one, it looks like it's going to work out, man. It's going to work out. So Storm Radios and Cats, thank you for the dates, and everyone else, just keep an eye out if you're going to be there. I've never been to this one. It's one of the biggest ones in the nation, my understanding is. So Harold Demi says, I had a Cobra 40 channel, but I think I remember the 23 channels. Yeah, and there's still lots of really cool 23 channel radios out there, sideband radios, some really neat ones. I've got a Pace 144 over here that I talk on regularly on channel 14, so it's pretty cool. Hey, while I'm thinking of it, if you guys wouldn't mind hitting the old thumbs up button on your stream there, that helps push this video to other people who may not realize that I'm live right now. So that always helps out. Let's see here. Jody Wonder says he has a Cobra 89. Those were cool, man. Yeah. The Polarian message. I've been looking through my transmitters, mainly the ST-15B. What's your experience with? Oh man, I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm happy. I don't use FM transmitters much. I usually do the giveaways with those because I'm more of an AM guy. I like the let's see, how do I put this? I like the trouble of trying to get an AM station to get that extra 100 yards. You're dealing with 1/10 of a watt, or a milliwatt basically, and so getting the antenna while still getting it 9 foot is like, there's just so much to getting a good signal out of an AM station. So some of that is the tweaking and playing with it is more interesting to me. That said, I've got a friend down in Raleigh who's been running one of those 15-watt stations for, gosh, we're going on 3 years now. No problems with this unit. It's, it has a fan. He says it's kind of noisy, but other than that, he says it works great, and it's been pumping out jams, and he rebroadcasts a band individual every day. So he's happy with it, and so are the people in his community. Let's see. Barney, good to see you, Barney. Paul Smith. Barney is, and this is one of the things I also wanted to talk about. You can see the little icon next to Barney's name, FPF. Barney is a super fan. He's a fan of the channel. There's now a way, kind of like Patreon is a way to support people, who make videos on YouTube. There's now a way to do it right in Farpoint Farms' own site. So if you go to my page, there's a way to become a member. And, I don't know what it is, $1.99 a month, I think it is, maybe $2.99, but it's just a way to support the channel. I don't know if you guys have heard, but online, the economy is collapsing. Why joke around about it? But it's happening. And so ad revenue has collapsed. So even though the views for this channel and the membership, or not membership, but the subscribers for this channel have actually gone up over the last 12 months significantly, income is down because, we're getting ready to slide into something pretty serious. So if you feel like supporting the channel, that's just another avenue to do it. I'm not forcing anyone to do it, but I appreciate Barney. And there's a few others, Mike T, Curtis 1971. There's a few of you out there who have done it, and I really do appreciate that. It's always kind of I feel honored, I guess, when somebody decides that my videos are worth paying a few bucks to see every month. It's kind of cool. It really is. Storms of Radio, do part 15 too. I need more caffeine. Gotcha. Let's see here. I'm going to go here. Would you recommend President McKinley for a beginner's base station? Yeah, 100%. Probably the best base station. The McKinley has weather, AM, FM. There's rumors that, or I'm sorry, not FM, but AM and sideband. There's rumors that FM is going to come out, sometime, by the end of the year, I would imagine. President has been rolling out FM models. But overall, the McKinley's just a great radio. It just does what it does, and it does it well. They're robust. They never die. I've got one in my car and I've had it in there for 2 or 3 years now, and I use the heck out of that thing, and it works great. As far as an antenna, the Antron A99 is 100% the way to go. I love that thing. So yeah, I don't. I have. There's a lot of other antennas out there. I have a Max 2000 up here right now, and of course there's Mako antennas and stuff. But just for the all around, I'm new to the hobby, or this is my first setup. A unit in 980 or a President McKinley with an Antron and 50 foot of really good cable, and you're going to be in business. You know what I mean? Bill D saying your President McKinley review helped them pick an awesome radio. Right on. Yeah, there you go. SolarCon, perfect. Have you been using FM on CB a lot? Only with my wife. So sometimes on the way home we'll talk. We don't get cell reception anywhere near here, so if I want to talk to her on the way home, we do it on CB, and I'll switch over to FM mode if I'm in the car that has FM, and talk to her because we do have the Harrison here, which is FM, and so that's nice. I'd say fidelity is a little clearer. It's really nice when there's a ton of skip because when you click to FM mode, all the skip is gone. Like it's muffled and very close to the noise floor, so you're able to talk over the skip. So that's kind of cool. Let's see here. Doc, good to see you in here. I got an old Bearcat Electra scanner and it only picks up emergency weather now. Everything's going digital. Yeah, I use analog scanners here, and I just heard that our local PD is finally going digital. So it's kind of a shame. All these years we've been able to, listen in and keep up. And it's important to be able to know what's going on in the community. I understand why they are going digital and trying to hide some of these signals, trunking and all that, because bad guys listen in for the wrong reasons. But it's also important for good people to have access to this information just in case something's going on in their neighborhood that they need to be aware with, Chuckles, good to see you. Glad to see you made it in there. Wow. Okay. Rick says he talks mostly on GMRS. That's cool to hear. Sam, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. Robbie Strike, good to know, bud. Hey, Eric, you should do a video on what would be the FM transmitter antenna for a low-powered station. I would do that. So I have a couple that I've played with. Honestly, I feel like building your own might be the best answer, and that's what my buddy down in Raleigh did. He had one. I did a review on it before sending it his way, and it worked well. But since then, he's built one that he made for himself that's just custom, for his particular channel. And he said it really helped with the transmission range of his radio. So yeah, maybe I will play around with that this summer. Let's see here. Hello from Romania. Joe Papa, good to see you, bud. Built the good old droopy chicken ground plate. Dustin Adams, almost, man. What time is it here? Let me go watch here. About 5 minutes. I'm going to announce the winner. Dirk from Texas. Hello, sir. Polarian message. Invest in SDR. Okay. Mark Ollie, use a cheap DVD dongle, $50 in it. Cool. I think maybe there's conversations going on in between here that I'm not part of. So I'm sorry if I'm reading questions that or reading comments that really don't have a whole lot going on with me. Metalunar saying, I've been a fan of keeping little weather radios around the car. I used to have an old Subaru that had it from the factory. No kidding. Huh. Blind Rabbit saying, greetings from Bolivia, North Carolina. I haven't heard of Bolivia, but welcome. Timidator, does FM go farther than your AM in this case? So range is really about even, I would say. But when there's a lot of skip, FM does go farther because you're not drowned out. Your voice doesn't get as drowned out as you would with all that skip in the background. Have you ever heard of somebody connecting their gutter metal drain pipe and using it for an antenna? So for shortwave, yeah, as like a midwave for AM, terrestrial radio or shortwave listening, even ham radio listening, a long piece of metal is better than a lot of things. So yeah, people do that all the time. Dustin said popped in right at the right time and busy tilling the garden. Good for you, man. Getting the garden going. Michael Root, good to see you in here as well. Mike Marshall, the treasure hunter. Love your channel. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Hello from West Virginia, says Clifton. Good to see you in there. How to Dave. I'm buying HH. Oh, I'm sorry, I blew past. Let's see. Being Romans 829 ED, maybe a dumb question, but can AM and FM QSO take place at the same channel at the same time? Yes, or yeah, sort of. How does sort of sound? Have you ever tried sideband and then somebody's talking on AM? It can be done. It just makes the experience worse for both people. So I hope that makes sense. 2004 Forester. Huh, I had no idea. I'll have to take. I work on a lot of Subarus, so I'll have to take a look and see if I ever come across one. It's kind of cool. So Kurt saying gutter mount for him. He's using on a ham to transmit receive. So I guess if you have an antenna tuner, anything's possible, right? You can transmit out of a paper clip, but you better have a tuner, and you might want to make sure your files don't turn into liquid. Robbie Strike, if there's an apocalypse and we're still around, we will all find each other with an FM station and CB radios. Yeah, like I sell it like that a lot on this channel, and I don't want to come across as like a prepper or whatever, but I think I said it in one of my last videos. We live in interesting times, for real. A lot of things are changing, man. And so some of the ways that everyone's so used to, they could just disappear any minute. And having some of the old ways available is still pretty cool. Could come in handy. Could come in real handy. Blind Rabbit says, wonder if they make an FM linear for CB. I think any amp for CB would work on any mode. At least I believe that's the case. Daniel L. Just got in. How's it going? Good to see you, bud. Good to see you. QRP saying, hey, man, great to see the progress on your shed. Yeah, so and that's, I'm going to kind of repeat here a little bit. Oh, I'm hurting, actually, guys, from working all day. But like all the projects here at the house and all the things I normally do here at the house have been on hold while we get that building done. And we're close. I estimate 2 more weekends until I'm ready to start moving equipment in. And so that's pretty cool. We got paint finishing up this weekend. We've got furniture coming in next weekend. And then the weekend after that, I'm busy. The weekend after that, I'm busy. And then the weekend after that, I hope to wrap it up, get all the equipment hooked up. So I would say by the end of the first week of June, other than putting gravel around up there, it'll be finished. So February to June, we'll call it. So 4 months turnaround is not too bad. It's a little slower than I wanted, but a little quicker than I expected, if that makes sense. Nathan wants to know if the FCC will be around the apocalypse. Depends on how big of an apocalypse we're talking about. Stonesicle, I'm new to the whole ham thing. I was wondering if there's any course you recommend for beginners. There's some online ones that certainly get the job done. I can't say I recommend one over the other, but there's like an online, like learn as you go type setup. And then there's also books you can get that go over all the questions. So 2 ways to learn. You can learn the content or you can memorize the content. A lot of people who are new hams are going to just memorize the content to go get their license, and then they learn it along the way. A lot of the old times, what they call Elmers, those are guys that have been around forever, and some of them, unfortunately, are starting to age out. They know the content. Like they grew up, they eat and breathe radio. They know how these things are built. They make their own transmitters and stuff. So those guys are just, they immerse themselves in it. And depending on how much you enjoy the hobby as you get into it, you might become one of those guys or gals. Does the new McKinley come with AM and FM? No. So not yet. McKinley has not come out with an AM/FM model, but a lot of the other President radios now do. The Bill, and there's a bunch, Harrison, and there's a lot of them that have started to. Oh boy, I'm sorry. There's this is a product of success. 101 people in here. If you wouldn't mind hitting the thumbs up button, that'll let more people know that I'm live and they can join the club. But there's so many people commenting. A lot of times I start reading a question or a comment and it's gone. Let's see here. Metal Lunar saying, even if you don't lose cell towers during the power outage, they can get overloaded by everyone using them. So radio is an important fallback. Agreed. Like that's one of my selling points. I was there for Hurricane Fran. I was there for 9/11. Both times cell service became completely unusable. Yes, there's been a lot of upgrades in 20 years, 25 years almost, but that doesn't matter. There's also a lot more bandwidth being used, a lot more bandwidth being used by modern phones. So people are going to be trying to use the internet and trying to send maybe pictures or whatever, or text and all the rest. And all that plus voice calls, it still jams the setup. If we're looking at a long-term power outage, which is one of the things that happened during Fran, all that stuff just dies out over the course of a few days. We have beautiful batteries. In fact, my solar setup here at the house is run off of X cell phone batteries. They're good for just, maybe 72 hours max. Generators can run up to 2 weeks, but again, like that's up to, you know what I mean? So there you go. All right, let's see here. A lot of people talking amongst themselves, so I'm just going to let those go. But yeah, okay. So let me see. I've got some other stuff. My wife is great, and it's oh yeah, it's time. It's time. Let me just say it again for those of you who are members of the channel. Barney MM2, you're in here tonight, obviously. Samuel Brackett's the newest member. Mike T and Steve Assay. Thank you guys. If you watch this at a later time, I know not all of you are in here. I really appreciate the fact that you're putting out a few bucks every month to help fund the channel. With the loss of revenue, it's been very helpful. And of course, there's stuff going on here. I had a comment on one of my videos saying you're putting out too many reviews, and he's right, or they were right, whoever they were. And the fact is that it's one of the ways I pay the bills, so it's also one of the ways I can afford to give away a radio like this instead of having to resell it. So I do sell stuff on eBay, you'll see. And I just really do appreciate it. Good to see you in there, David G. Good to see you in there. David, I was telling everyone I will be at the Dayton, Ohio Ham Fest on the 20th. So there you go. Hey, look at that. PSV Odyssey. It says, welcome to Farpoint fans. There we go. So somebody new signed up. Well, I appreciate that, sir. I really do. And that's awesome. All right. So are you ready? The winner, and I don't think he's in here tonight. The winner is Mad Jack 114. Mad Jack 114. Okay. Let me, I'm going to pull up on my other page here. I want to read you what he had as far as his thing. Gents, if I can get it. There we go. Where is it? All right, here's what he said. And there's a couple other ones in here I'll go over. Oops, what did I do? I don't even know. Man, I really am not that great with computers. I like to pretend that I am. All right, Mad Jack 114. He said his reason was simple. I know what to do with it. 20 years in professional radio would allow me to better serve our new mobile home village with their own community radio signal, mainly for emergency situations. I'm the only two-way radio operator here. I've worked in broadcasting, both music content and news, and this would be the perfect opportunity to put it all to a worthy cause. So that's Mad Jack 114. Congratulations. What you need to do is send me an email, and I will definitely be helping you out. I'll send that your way. And I'd love it if you sent me a picture or even an audio clip of your new radio station when it gets going. Does that sound good? But I appreciate that. Let's see. Buff says your reviews got me to buy a good soldering station. Good. So yeah, I mean, and I'll get into this for a second too before we move on to other stuff. But as far as reviews go, like I know there was one guy that commented about a radio, a really good radio too. It really weirded me out. XDH data, whatever it's called, XH data. It's a shortwave radio, and it's not an expensive one. And the thing was super sensitive, and it's a great little radio. And the guy was like, "I don't trust you. You're a paid advertisement or something like that." And I'm like, "Man, this is a good radio. Like you're losing out." Like I get junk all the time. Most of the time, I can look at an offer from a company and say, "I mean, that's garbage," and just say no. And sometimes they beg or they offer to send other stuff, and I still say no. But like, let's talk about Vavor. They're kind of in the YouTube news right now. Dena Tools made something there pretty quickly, and he said, Vavor, who's this company? Well, Vavor is like Harbor Freight was in the late '90s, early 2000s. They're up and coming, and so they have sent me like 20 things, and these are things that I would not be able to afford. I got an automotive, a 2-ton engine hoist, and I got a roll seat, and I got some other automotive tools that are great tools from them. And they sent me one thing that sucked. And like, I'm not going to tell you what it is because that's just the courtesy that I give the company like that. But I talked to them when I sent it. I got it out of the box, started to do a review, and it's cheap. It wasn't good quality. They were totally okay with that. They knew that not everything they're putting out is great. But just like Harbor Freight, they continue to like upgrade their stuff and fix their stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing that I do, but it is what I do. All right, let's see here. Got a bunch I'm going to run through. Didn't I win? Joe Pop, I'm sorry. Larry Mason saying congratulations. How to Dave wants a recount. I appreciate all that. I imagine you're inundated with trinkets to review all the time. A lot of times I am. Hey, Barney MM2, thank you for the donation, sir. I do appreciate that. I do appreciate that a lot. I do. I get so like right now I'm having a great month. I have a lot of old tractor repair videos that are doing well with spring in the air. People trying to get their tractors back up and running. And so I'm getting a ton of offers from companies. They look at like the analytics of a channel. And I get a lot of offers, and some of them are really great. Some of them are just silly, you know, like sprinklers. Like I don't really need a sprinkler, you know. But and it's hard to make a video, even if it was the best sprinkler ever made. How do you make a video on a sprinkler? It's just kind of hard to come up with that. But when it comes to radios, you guys want to see something cool? I think you're gonna like this one. Oh, it's backwards. I hope you guys can see it. What do you think that is? That is a Stryker SR 955. That's going to be the flagship radio for the new radio and new studio. So that's huge. That's a huge deal. And Cobra has started working with me, which is really cool. And I mean, that's a radio that I could never, ever ever afford. So the fact that companies are willing to work with me and do stuff like that is, for a guy who grew up like real poor, it's been nice to have this stuff. But I also understand I'm humble about it, which is why I try to give some of this stuff away. Somebody was asking, I think I lost it, what my what is it, eBay account is. It's Farpoint Farms. So if you want to go over there, I've got some radio stuff. A lot of times it's just random stuff that I'm reselling. Sometimes it's review stuff that I'm selling, but I also, buy radios to resell at flea markets and Goodwill, stuff like that, if I come across it. So I'll make a video on something and then resell it. I play with stuff. It's the only way I can afford a hobby. Some guys have the money to be able to like stack radios miles deep. I keep the ones that I either have an emotional attachment to or just really cool. But most of the time I have to play with it and then I have to pass it on. Same thing with the automotive scan tools I do. I have a couple scan tools that I've kept, but I have a lot that I unfortunately have to pass along. Now, about 3/4 of the radio or the scan tools I give to new technicians. So I only sell maybe out of 10 scan tools, I usually sell 2 or 3 a year. So just to give you an answer on that. Dustin Adams has an automotive question. Chevy, 93 Chevy 3500 with a rebuilt carburetor. Now not getting fuel into the carburetor. What should I do? Check your mechanical fuel pump. I believe that has the mechanical fuel pumps probably either not working or has a leaking diaphragm. That would be my guess. You can always add an electric low volume pump, but if you can replace the mechanical one, do that. They just work great. Dick VL saying it's easy for people to criticize review videos while watching your free videos. Yeah, man. Blind Rabbit says 100% love it for the local talk. Yeah. Night Owl says make sure the programming cable for the Stryker to fine tune it if needed. Okay, I'll have to get that. Dennis Tate said your humility is endearing. Well, I appreciate that, sir. I don't do any peaking tunes, Nathan. I am not a radio guy. The extent of the radio repairs I do or the computer repairs I do, and I'll get up here in a second and show you something that I just came across that is like the holy grail out in the flea market land. I will take something apart and clean it. So like if it's scratchy when you turn dials, that kind of stuff, staticky when you're changing channels or changing the volume, that I have, contact cleaner, I'll clean it up. But I do some minor soldering. If I was a crack on a board or something like that, I can do that. But I do not replace. I don't have a scope, or the knowledge to use one properly. So I'm not the golden screwdriver for sure. Let's see here. You can have $1 million setup and talk over the air and no one will see it because they're listening on their stuff. Okay. Dustin says he'll try that. Was this for the FM radio? Yeah. DJ Nitro Blue. Yeah. It was good. Yeah. There's a lot of them. And so I'm going to try to scroll back up. So DJ Nitro Blue, your reason for wanting the radio was the best you ever heard. We picked the 15 bests that we could. And then my wife cut the names up, put them in actually a coffee mug, and then picked one out. And so that's the winner is. So yeah, every time I do these, I probably get, I don't know. I think we probably got 200 or so comments on this one, and about 100 of them, they're okay, but usually another 100 are pretty darn good, and usually 25 or so are just outstanding. So it's always tough to pick one. And I wish that I hit the lottery and I'd send one to everybody in the country just so we could, as they said in that great movie back in the day, pump up the volume. We'll steal the airwaves. Everybody will have their own personal FM station. Let's see here. I'm going to roll back through. I've missed so many of these already. It says something about buying his own. Bill D says, not a screwdriver guy here, but I can make magic with antennas. Yeah, I mean, a great antenna beats the magic screwdriver any day anyway. Metalunar said, I was going to ask if you have a recommendation for FM transmitter, giveaway aside. I guess you don't really play on the FM side. So gosh, what is the brand? I think it was a Reticus that I got here years ago. We gave one away, and I gave the other one to my friend down in Raleigh. And so 2.5, 3 years nonstop on the air and still running. So I don't know if Reticus still makes a 15-watt unit. I know that I haven't seen it on their website lately, but if they still have a 15-watt, that would get you going. You know, he gets almost 10 miles with the antenna setup he has now, which is, you know, clearly not legal, but he's also clearly been getting away with it for 3 years. So good for him. Now I'm not that brave, so I can't afford it. You know, like I think you know, people make fun of me when they're driving with me because I drive the speed limit. They're like, man, you're killing me. And I'm like, you gonna pay the bill when I get a ticket? If you are, you know, I'll pump up the miles per hour until you tell me you can't afford it anymore. How's that sound? Let's see here. Storm radios and cats. I find it funny how for years Galaxy import radios had FM mode, and people, including myself, used it long before FM was legal. Oh, no kidding. Yeah. Yeah. Well, this thing does have FM mode, so maybe we'll be on time with it. Blind Rabbit saying, still trying to acquire a silent AM station. Oh man, I hope you're able to do that. 2 stations now I've looked into buying AM stations. One would have required me to move, and I'm just not doing that. Or, you know, the next move I make is probably do a graveyard. So the fact of trying to like work a station from 5, 6, 7 hours away is just that's just too much effort for me. So I'm trying to find something within, you know, an hour or two, and there's just not a lot of stations left. There's a few that have gone for sale in the 10 years I've been up here, but they're pretty proud of them, except for one, and that one unfortunately just too far out of any reasonable price range. You know, I'm looking for something that's got the station, transmitting site, and the antenna tower and land all in one. But I'm on a really, you know, I'd have to take a loan, and I'd have to get backers, and I'd have to really put a lot of effort into that. So I think it's a dream that unfortunately for me will never come true. But I have my little Part 15 set up, and so I get to live that dream my own way. Does that make sense? Grant says, is CB radio popular in Canada? From what I understand, and Robbie Strike was in here a few minutes ago. I don't know if he's still hanging out with us, but yeah, certain parts of it for sure. You got remote areas of Canada, most of Canada. Remember, most of the population lives within the first 50 miles from the U.S. border. So you got a lot of space there where two-way radio is the only way you're going to communicate with anyone. So I think, I don't know how popular it is, but I know how popular it ought to be. Does that make sense? Let's see. So are these FM transmitters similar to ones used to drive in? Yes, exactly. And churches. Yeah. In fact, the first transmitter that was sent my way was from Reticus or Retrievus, one of those two. And then I've had a whole bunch of others since then. And they were selling them during COVID for churches. And now, you know, that's kind of fizzled out because people have gone back to in person, which is nice. But there's still a lot of use for one, and churches still broadcast. In fact, the one not too far from where I'm at, they broadcast their Sunday service for those who are, you know, elderly or not feeling well and can't make it in. They can tune it in on the radio. So probably cool. Let's see. Blind Rabbit says, one is looking for a new transmitter and all the antenna studios all on the same property. Cool. The one they had has died. So yeah, you can get for about $4,000, you can get a professional transmitter. I mean, and it's amazing. You know, it used to be the size of a deep freezer, and now they're the size of a computer. So it's pretty amazing. Rob Strike is still in here. Good to see you, bud. So yeah, dump truck drivers, construction companies. There was a super local AM stereo that sold near me recently. I've been trying to find how much the guy paid. It was only like 300 watts, but it's got very local focus. Yeah, and I think the future of terrestrial radio, and I'm not a radio guy, so feel free to make fun of me on this, but it's got to be local. Like we went through all stations being locally owned and operated, and then, hey, Jamaica Dog, good to see you in here. And so they went from that to then suddenly it got bought up. Everybody got bought up. We have Curtis Media here in North Carolina, Cumulus, we have Clear Channel. So all these stations got bought up. They all went automated. They all suck. And so viewership, advertising, everything went through the floorboards. They went tanked so bad. Now a lot of them filing for bankruptcy or going dark. That's the apocalypse part of it. But there's like the rebirth that's possible. I don't know if it'll happen. The rebirth part comes if we can get people who are radio enthusiasts who are passionate about it to buy these stations before they just get bulldozed and turned into subdivisions and make them local. Hire some talent that wants to cover local area because all news is local. And when we forget that, then the station flounders. Get local musicians, local news, local advertising, and you're going to kill it. So there you go. Yeah. There is no real DJ anymore. Yeah, it's very rare. I think that's one of the reasons why WTWW did so well, and now they're out of business, of course, because of other issues. But now they're WRMI, and that their station playing 60s rock and roll is great because it's real people, and they take requests like it ought to be. I mean, if that's probably the most popular shortwave show on the air, and they're good people. I've talked to them. I've worked with them. I think they're a little mad at me right now because I don't return their calls as often as I should probably, but they want to work with me some more, and I just don't have time right now, unfortunately. Storm Radio and Cast. There's a church at the end of my road still broadcasting on 87.9 since COVID. Covers 3 miles. The Preaching Pirate. I mean, right on, dude. Eric. Hello, Eric from Rockford, Illinois. Good to see you, bud. I can't even pronounce that next one. Godzukin. Hello, how's it going? Nathan, man, I was going into radio when all these stations were being bought up. My overnight airship was replaced by a CD jukebox. Yeah, man, that's brutal, dude. And don't let the dream die, because I have a feeling the cycle will turn. I just wish it would hurry up because I'd love to get into it on the tail end. What better thing to do in retirement than sit behind a chair and do what I'm doing right now with you guys, except maybe a little more exciting. Now, Metal Lunar saying it's frustrating how these media companies bought them all out and then ruined it and says, oh, well, nobody wants to listen. It's dead. Well, that's it. It's so funny that like they trying to turn a battleship, like where a single owner could be like, I see trends. Let me follow the trends. They can make a quick change. They own 5,000 stations nationwide. The trends that are happening in North Carolina are totally different than what's happening in Minnesota. And so it was easy to figure out they were going to lose, but not for them. All they saw was the quick dollar signs replaced by long-term losses. So, hey, Eric, do you still go on CB radio? This is Jeff Grant from Ontario. Sure. Yeah, sure, Jeff. I'm on there, as often as I can be. I tried talking. I could hear overseas quite a bit, Italy and, oh gosh, there was quite a few countries that I was getting, England and whatnot. Ireland, but they weren't hearing me. That was the last time I tried, but it's been a few days. I've been working up top. We have to run a generator up there right now or run the solar packs. But I did got 2 bags of concrete. We're going to pour an antenna tower base up there for the new antenna. I got another Antron A99. I'm going to stuff up there. So yeah. All right. I got to skip ahead. Unfortunately, there's so many coming in here. You guys, it's awesome. I got 86 of you in here. If you're just popping in, hit the thumbs up button. It lets other people know that I'm live, and it lets YouTube say, hey, look at this live show here. People are enjoying it. So a lot of people, unfortunately, don't get the message about these things until afterwards. Speaking of that, like Jamaica Dog has a cool live stream that he puts out that is of his local ham fest, ham gathering, like their net. He's got live streaming, and I think that like it's good, but like I think YouTube just hardly ever lets people know that it's on. Like I've caught it once because I finally like just happened to see it said, oh, broadcasting now. But I hate that about YouTube is that it doesn't let people know. They should have an alert that pops up, let them know, hey, this guy's live, Joe's Random Sales stopped on 15770 and thought the voice sounded familiar. As a YouTuber, the kids watch. Would that be, if I was going to guess, would that be Report of the Week? Because that guy's awesome. And I know he broadcasts on quite a few stations here in the U.S. and overseas. He's also big into shortwave. Great kid, great guy. He does a lot of food reviews on YouTube, but he's actually very diverse individual when it comes to his knowledge base. I've kind of enjoyed talking with him a little privately and publicly. So he's a good guy. George Landy, I'm new to all this. I'm not sure what that means. Have a steel whip on the landing and tuned. It works well. Doesn't pick up any chatter. Could be the, is it Eric or is it Eric or Eric? It's Eric with a K. Metal Lunar YouTube has their algorithm. They decide what they want you to spend your time watching. That's for sure. Yeah. Yeah, Metal Lunar says, yeah, caught that guy on shortwave a few times. Yeah, he's pretty cool, man. I like him. And I do my show. It's coming back. I was going to try to do it for mid-June. It looks like it's going to be uh, maybe July 4th will be the first episode of the Midnight Cafe. So it's not exactly what I was aiming for, but that's all right. We're going to do, it looks like either 6 or 8 episodes. I've got 2 of them that I've been working on. And we got a guest. We got a couple of guests, actually. So we're going to have some interesting topics and a little bit better conversation than last year. Although I enjoyed last year's run. It was good to get back on regular radio instead of doing the YouTube part of it. I know YouTube has a much bigger audience than shortwave, but something special about being able to broadcast worldwide. Oh, Doc's a fan of the channel, the Midnight Cafe. That's right. And I know Barney's a fan because he was giving me range reports or like audio quality reports when we were broadcasting last year. We need more public aim non-NPR stations on the air. I agree with that. It's just hard to convince people to do that sort of stuff, but I love it. Let me see if there's anything else I'm supposed to say. I am going to point out again, I'm going to be at Dayton Ham Fest May 20th, Saturday. I am sleeping in my car the night before. So if I look a little off or seem a little grumpy, maybe I didn't sleep all that well. Let's see here. I do want to thank again the members, Barney, Samuel Brackett, Curtis 1971, Mike T, Steve Assay, and the newest one there that just signed up tonight. I appreciate it. It really does help the channel. It helps offset the loss in revenue that we've had because of what they call the Adpocalypse Part 2. Oh, yeah, my wife is also wanting me to remind you, and I see this here, the Midnight Cafe BBS. I've had more problems with that $5 laptop. I run the radio station on Shoutcast off of it too, and it'll always run for about 72 hours, and then it crashes both. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'll play with it more over the summer and try to get that back online. However, the website, farpointfarms.com, is still alive, and it does have forms. I was hoping the forms would pick up. A little more than they have, but there's some people over there doing stuff, and I hope that you guys will. Oh, Jimmy Rizzo saying goodbye. Have a good one, buddy. So I hope you guys will head over to the Farpoint Farms forums anyway. I think it's pretty neat. And I would love, this is something she threw in here, but I'll throw it out to you. What kind of videos would you like to see? What kind of videos should I make this summer when I have the time to really pour it in? I have about 100 of them saved up. Some of them are getting kind of long in tooth. They're a little old now. And of course, I'm going to continue to do reviews. I'm going to slow down a little bit. I poured out a whole bunch this week. There must have been 8 or 9 videos that I put out this week. And I'm going to be going back to a more normal cycle here shortly. But do have some more stuff that I want to get from Vivor if they're willing to work with me on it. I've got a truck rack that I want so I can bring lumber home longer than 10 foot that I normally can. And of course, radio reviews and stuff. But what kind of stuff you guys want to see? I'm going to take a sip of water while you guys type in your thoughts and ideas. I've got a couple vintage computer videos that I'd like to make. Well, yeah, Metalunar is good to have that many in reserve. It is because like I got sick last year for like 6 months, and if it hadn't been for that, there'd have been a big dark spot here where I wasn't really making videos, and as a result, nobody noticed. That was perfect. So I decided that was actually a really good idea. Theoretically, I got enough to run a full year with 2 videos a week. The other channel, probably 3 months. I'd like to see the Wiener Dog Winter Nationals. Interesting. I'll tell you what I do have. I filmed my very first Poor Man's Cookbook in a long time. I made homemade pizzas. I even set the fire alarm off here at the house. It's a long video, but I got a lot of requests for more Poor Man's Cookbook series. So, hey, why not? Jet saying, hey, hello, just tuned in to this. Looks fun. Well, welcome aboard, my friend. Scanner reviews. Okay. Yeah, I'll try to pick up more scanners when I go to flea markets and whatnot. Home-built radio kits. I've actually got 2 that I do wish to share with you. I haven't filmed them yet, so there you go. CB content. Always going to be continuing with CB content. I've actually got a updated beginner's guide to CB radio that I want to put out this year. One's talking about homemade wire antennas for CB. So yeah, not CB, but I am going to be doing some wire antennas for ham and for shortwave. And I might make a homemade antenna for an FM transmitter because there's been some requests for that. So there might be some there. Is this the new studio? No, this is the old studio. I was going to do this inside today, but I've had problems with computers inside and out. Dick wants to know, oh yeah, definitely more old computer stuff, trying to piece together an old dial-up BBS. Awesome, man. What about old-timer hints and tricks for the apocalypse? Well, yeah, I've always walked a fine line. Um, like I'm not a prepper or survivalist in the most traditional of sense, but I was in the army and I was a Boy Scout, and I'm not I pay attention. Let's put it that way. I knew that COVID was coming probably 6 months before everybody else when I put a video out and everyone called me a prophet 6 months later, and I was like, nah, I was just paying attention. If you just turn off the actual fake media that is on cable and turn off all those websites that are recommended by Uncle Sam and go find your own information, you'll know a lot of what's coming. And but I'm not the guy to be spreading that. That's not my place in this world. I don't think. I can give hints to those who wish to listen, but I'm not going to sit here and become the Canadian Prepper or Prepper Nurse One or any of those channels. Those guys are great guys and they do what they do, but that's their thing. I don't see myself transitioning to that. David G wants to do some tractor videos. I'm down with that. And that is definitely something I'm going to be doing a lot of this summer is repair videos on the mini bike, which is what that engine's for. The go-kart, I'm putting a diesel engine on it. I've got an ATV that I picked up. We're going to do a full restoration on. I've got 2 mowers that I picked up. We're going to fix up and flip. So there's going to be a lot of that content. And it's funny, even though most people know me as the radio guy, my tractor videos and mower repair videos do far better on this channel than any of those other ones. They burn slow, right? You get like 500 views, and then you come back in 6 months, they have 50,000. And so that's pretty cool. All right, solar tips and tricks. Yeah, I'm going to do some more updates. I'm going to do a lot more updates on the solar because we're adding more solar here this year. I've got some more batteries that are coming in. Oh, let's see here. I'm scanning through. There's so many coming in right here. I only heard Joseph Richards saying, I only heard one Midnight Cafe and can't seem to find more live shows. My wife Desiree and I really enjoyed what you share with us. We thank you for what you do. Well, thank you. I really appreciate that. Is there such thing as low powered shortwave stations? Certainly are. So think about this, and there's a lot of pirate shortwave stations out there. A ham radio like the ICOM 7300, you take out one little diode or resistor, and it'll transmit, on the AM terrestrial band, on shortwave bands, as well as on the ham bands. So there's a 100-watt, sideband, so 25-watt AM shortwave station you could operate right there. So there's a lot of them out there. There's also, of course, purpose-built shortwave stations, far more popular in Europe than here in the U.S., but still, it's kind of cool to turn the radio on late at night and you can pick up some pretty interesting stuff. Jerry Bates says, starting an AM low-powered AI radio station better than FM. Do you ever get complaints? No complaints on my Part 15. No one has ever mentioned it to me at all. David's looking forward to the new studio. So yeah, I chose not to film all the bits and pieces of building it because it's so much, I don't know. I just wanted to get it done. And if I filmed it all, it probably would have taken a lot worse. So a lot worse, a lot longer. Let's see. Bill D says, keep the conspiracy to channel 19. There you go. Yeah, Barney's right. I do have the Midnight Cafe on YouTube. Those are mostly the YouTube version of the Midnight Cafe. I did upload one of the last season's episodes to it. I do also have a podcast channel that has all of that I'm allowed to release on it. And so they're there. And of course, new episodes are coming mid-July or early July. I'm hoping July 4th will kick off the season or that weekend of it. So I'm looking forward to it. Metal Lunar says you were also the how to cook the best hot dog guy for a few years. That's right, man. I'm a cook, man. Let's see. Tractors and mowers, flipping mowers. Yeah, that's a good one. Flipping tractors and mowers is a good business. I recommend some of the younger guys that I work with. That's a good side hustle, Let's see what else we got here. I'm going to scroll down to the bottom, so I apologize if I miss a bunch of those. Skip has died down. So solar activity on the sun is pretty wild. It's actually pretty scary if you really are into that sort of stuff. But when it's doing its thing, it's pretty cool. A pumpkin chunker. I don't know if I got the kind of money to build one of those, but it would be cool to see that sucker sail across the sky. That's for sure. All right, let me show you one more thing, guys, and then I'll probably get close to wrapping it up. We're almost at the hour mark. I want to show you what I found at the flea market. Okay, the first thing I found at the flea market. Now that wasn't too bad. This is just something that you just don't see very often, but it's probably only worth a few bucks. But there it is. We're going to talk about vintage computers. That is a Timex, or actually it's just a Sinclair ZX81. It's from 1981. It's a computer that is very, very basic. Has a membrane keypad, and I'm gonna play with that. I'll probably make a video on that. So here's an interesting story for the 5 of you that may have watched this video years ago. But if you look for ancient home built computer still in operation, it's one of the videos I made years ago. You will find that once upon a time I built one of these. That would have been probably 1985. They were in a catalog for 1999, and and so I put that together, and I still have it. I made a custom keyboard for it over the years. I've done a bunch of stuff, so there's a video on that. But I came across that. That's pretty cool. Being Romans wants to know what my handle is. I usually go by Farpoint Farm 707 now, although sometimes I still use North Star. It's like an iPad, but better. Yes, it is. Hobo Henry, it's like, yeah, there you go, man. Is your podcast on Spotify? Yes, it is. Under the Midnight Cafe, it should be on Spotify. I think it's on Anchor FM, yeah, but I think they got bought by Spotify, so I think so. I saw a flight simulator for the first time on one of those in '82. Yeah, buddy, my first computer. Yes, I'm that old. Okay, good. So some of y'all, no, well, get ready because this is unobtainium. All right, check this out. It's the precursor to that computer. It's the Timex or the Sinclair ZX80. It works. It works. It needs the little pins. There's only one pin left, but it works. I fired it up and it works. And I am so excited. I will definitely make a video on this. This thing, it has 1K of memory. The entire operating system, which is basic, fits into 4 kilobytes of ROM, and it can't display something on the screen and type at the same time, so it goes blank every time you press a button. It's called fast mode on the later model. This thing had 2 modes, slow and fast. In slow mode, it could act like kind of a normal computer. This one far more primitive. And the best part about that one is it even came with the original manual. I mean, that is some old school stuff. So I'll be playing with that this summer, and I'm just excited about it. I'm going to do a composite video mod on it because it is a little scratchy on the modern digital TVs, but it's pretty awesome. Old school is certainly it. Dustin Adams wants to know, do I still do cigar reviews? I don't. I don't smoke as much as I used to. I do still smoke cigars here and there. I got this really great humidor from New Air, and so all my cigars are in there, and they're all perfectly seasoned now. And so over the summer, I'm sure gonna probably smoke a few cigars. I would love to do the reviews again, but as part of my job, I've kind of agreed not to. And that's about all I'm going to say about that. But it's I'm trying to be a role model, so I try not to do that stuff on TV anymore, if that makes any sense. Blind Rabbit says, I was digging through the closet and found 2 30-pin. Oh, I remember the old 30-pin days. Yep, I remember those. Used to have a Spectrum. He says, yeah. So that was like so we had the ZX80, then the 81, and then the Spectrum came out. That was color and had some sound, which was pretty cool. These were pretty cool. So, like I said, I grew up real poor, like tough times. So we got. I bought that for $19.99. It was a kit. I built the kit, used it like this for probably a year or so. Found a keyboard at the junkyard or something. Like I don't remember where we got that keyboard, but made a metal case, painted the case, put the keyboard in, wired it all up. Cut the label, the keyboard portion off here. I cut that off and glued it to the top of the metal case so I could remember what all the keys do, because all these keys do like multiple functions, and use that computer well up. I think I probably put it away at 88. 88, I got a Commodore 64. 91, I finally got a IBM PC, sort of. It was called a Wang PC. It was IBM compatible-ish. Like it would work some stuff, but not everything. So I was always way behind the computer curve. So that's pretty interesting. And because I made that myself, I hung on to it all these years and still use it. There's this great product called the ZX Band that, it's like having a hard drive built into it, and so you don't have to use tapes anymore. I doubt it'll work on that old ZX80, but it's a cool thing to play with. So yeah, it doesn't say. I wonder. Haven't seen me post a video on that for a while. So that's what happened there. There's about 20 of them. I actually made them private, if you know, but maybe someday. Different gear TV. What was the one used? Cassette tapes. Yeah, that was those two computers used cassette tapes to load and save programs, and they were really touchy. Now they have 1 kilobyte of memory, so if you think about 1 kilobyte, not 1 megabyte, not 1 gigabyte, 1 kilobyte. That was it. And that was you had to work with, and you could actually do some pretty impressive stuff. I had a book that was like 50 games for the 1 kilobyte. Timex, and I typed every single one of them in and saved them all the tape over the years, and some of them were actually pretty playable. No graphics, although later on people figured out how to make high res graphics out of it by kind of hacking the system, but no real graphics. They had some block characters that you could use, and it was pretty slow. I mean, it was really it's a different era, but it's a good era. Like, I think there was a lot better times. Now we have AI, but back then you could really know the inside of that computer. You could know how every bit of it worked. I built it. I know it. This guy's saying TRS-80. Yep, those were great computers. Had a Tandy Color computer too. Yep. Mega computers. Those were like, those are equivalent of a modern computer. I mean, they're beautiful graphics and sound and everything. So that's pretty cool. Dave wants to know, maybe I can make some more videos of free satellite TV someday. Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. I actually I haven't even had a chance to hook it up, but I bought a new decoder box, not illegal. Now this is still FTA, but it does different. So like MPEG-2, MPEG-4. So they're like all these codecs, and you need to have a pretty sophisticated scrambler box or like decoder box to get some of the stuff. I have my big C-band dish parked at a particular satellite that has almost 2,000 radio feeds coming in. They're not encrypted, but it only picks up so many of them because they use a different codec. It's more compressed, and the box that I had wasn't able to decompress that. So I bought a better box over the winter. I just haven't had a chance to play with it. So Apple IIc was a great computer. I have an Apple IIc monitor. That's what I actually use with my vintage computer because it's a nice monochrome, it's relatively small, and works beautifully. Yeah. Maybe build a PS5 as a project. I don't play video games, unfortunately. Like, I play Atari. That was my era. So yeah, Gary, the lady saying Wang. Yeah, an interesting name, but it's called the Wang PC. You can Google it. It was IBM-ish. It ran on MS-DOS, but it wasn't compatible with anything that used graphics. So I was limited to like text games. I was able to use it for BBSing because ANSI and stuff worked on it. So that was kind of cool. Storm Radio and Cassidy's 56 now. Went to schools. They introduced us to the 64, the Apple II, the 486, and fluent in Linux. Right on. First PC of mine was an Acer Aspire, one with Windows 95. Pac-Man with the boost button. There you go. The 2600 is great, man. I love it. I love it. Please share my comment. I don't know, Jet, if I might have missed it. Let me see here. I'll scroll back up. Yeah, I don't see it, brother. So yeah, the Atari is pretty fun. We got one of those like modern reproductions of it that has all the games built in, and you can put it on a modern TV set. So I'll play that every once in a while. My wife comes home and she's like, "What are you doing?" I don't know. I know there's a lot of guys my age that probably do play modern video games, but I certainly don't. So for her to come home and watch me destroying asteroids and getting upset about it when I get blown up or whatever, or playing Yar's Revenge, she'll she just gets a kick out of that. And then she comes over and joins me. So there you go. Dan Keong saying, I know you use Harbor Freight. Do you have floor jacks from them, and are they good? My 30-year-old Craftsman is done for. I was looking at the Daytona low profile 3-ton. I don't have a Harbor Freight floor jack. I'm sorry. I got the Vavora one, which is probably the equivalent, and I've been happy with it. But I have a jack that I've had for 20 plus years that I've just been using up until I got that Vavora one. So never needed that one. I do have their jack stands, and they're not the recalled ones, and they work nice, Yeah, it's okay. So Miss Milinkovic would like to see C-band satellites today. I'll do that for you. Modern for me is 2001 release of Call of Duty. Yeah, that's about where I stopped trying to keep up with computer video games. I played Doom, when it came out, or and Castle Wolfenstein maybe or something like that. Wolf 3D. I played those. That was probably about it. Let's see here. Tic tac toe in the dirt with sticks. Yeah. Yeah, my brother and I collected aluminum cans back in the day to get our 2600. I got mine. It was in the dumpster, and the case was broken. I took the board, brought it home, hooked up a power supply we had. I think it might have been for the Timex. Got it plugged in, and it worked. And convinced my mom to buy a joystick. So she got me a joystick. I had this thing in a shoebox, and then started collecting. I'd go to every yard sale you could get, and it was the era where 2600s were, falling out of favor. It was probably when everyone else was using Nintendos, but I got cartridges, for $1 here, $1 there, that kind of stuff. So that was kind of cool. Swap your air rifle for an Atari. I don't know if I'd have done that. That's pretty cool though. Well, let's see. Any other video recommendations y'all have? Check out Quickie SDR map with receivers all around the world with waterfall scope. You can monitor yourself and amateur shortwave radio. Cool. Yeah, sounds cool. Yeah, go ahead and check that out. Is that a website, I hope? That sounds neat. I'm trying to think if there's anything I failed to mention here tonight. I do have my new Marvel Mr. Oil Marvelized shirt that they were kind enough to send me. Probably the highlight of this year has been working with Marvel. Now I've got some of their products in the background. Actually, I didn't even. Oh, those are perfectly staged. Yes. I should. I'll have to send them a picture of that. That was just where I had them out. I was unpacking stuff today. But they're good people. They're good people, and I'm so excited to get the chance to work with a company that I've loved for so long. And same with Cobra. Cobra finally getting in touch with me, and I was like the Cobra, the Cobra that I lusted after when I had a Radio Shack. Yeah, that Cobra. So that's kind of really cool. Outdoor videos, camping, fishing, gold prospecting. Okay, yeah. I've actually wanted to look. We got a panner for gold. I'd like to try that around here. Supposedly there's gold in these mountains somewhere. Ken Hawk says computing before 2000 was exciting. Now everything has been done. It feels like computers have become prisons. I agree. Doc wants to know if I do any RC stuff. I have a Radio Shack pickup truck that I play with sometimes. Actually, I use it to antagonize my cats. They don't know what to make of it. They're not scared of it, but they're also not happy that it's invading their space. So it's kind of fun to drive it around. But I have used it. So I have a wireless camera I'll put on it, and I'll use it to drive underneath or get into places that I can't normally get into. So I do use it for that. So find some fool's gold. Yeah, that'd be my luck. Dallas Rife, good to see you, brother. Good to see you indeed. Dallas, you might be one that's going to this. I am going to Dayton Ham Fest on May 20th. Any chance you're going to get to that? Let's see here. Played one called Ultima Online. I remember Ultima on a Commodore, I think. Do you have a drone? Yeah, I do have one drone a company sent me, and I love it. It's pretty cool, but I'm not very good. I got it stuck in a tree, and it cost me about $30 in ammo to get it out of that tree. So I haven't done a ton. I haven't played with it a ton after that. I can't afford that much ammo, Night Owl wants to know, ask Cobra to re-release an updated 2000. I will do it. Dallas Rife says, back deck grilling, Miller Lite drinking, and some Farpoint farms on the handheld Wizard box. Just might. All right. Sounds good to me. Well, I hope I see you there. And like I said, if we get to the weekend of the Dayton Ham Fest and it's pouring rain or something like that, or it's going to be just nasty, I'm not going to go. But if it's a decent weekend, I'm going to drive my car after work and drive up there. I'll get there about midnight, pass out in the car, wake up Saturday morning, get there, and I'll be hauling cheap CB radios and cool stuff back to the car. That'll be future content for the channel. But if you're there and you see me, don't be afraid. Come on over, shake my hand, and maybe we'll grab lunch. That goes for everybody. Jet says your rabbit truck is nice, and also that Super Beetle. Yeah, I'm thinking about selling the Super Beetle, unfortunately. Gotta free up some cash. Kenya Honk wants to know if I still have the VBS up and running. I do not. It comes and it goes. I would love to have it up. I had it up for like 2 years straight. And on my laptop, I bought a $5 laptop at a previous Ham Fest, and it started getting goofy. And so it keeps crashing. But at some point over the summer, if I can get a weekend where I'm, taking it easy, imagine the idea of actually taking it easy someday. I keep thinking about maybe doing that, but if I ever get to that moment, I'll do that. I'll do that. Yeah, Dave's saying dinner and the wife is calling. I hear you. Need to see you at the Benson Ham Fest. I might look into that. When is that one, Blind Rabbit? That's a gas rabbit. The jet, that's a gas rabbit. Guys, I'm gonna wrap it up here in just a minute or two. If you haven't hit the thumbs up button, please do. It helps people know that the channel doesn't suck that bad. Using CBs on off-roaders. Yeah, well, I made that one. I think Mower Junkie did one too, but I put one on one of my mowers, the Mutt that I built, and it still works. In fact, we were using it yesterday. I got home Friday, drove the Mutt up to the new facility, the new studio, and was working up there. I kept the radio on, so when my wife wanted me for dinner, she just keyed down at the radio down here in the house, and ta-da, we were talking. Right on. Thanks for the show. I appreciate all of you. It's typically the weekend before Thanksgiving. Okay, yeah, I might be able to pull that off. Hey guys, I appreciate it. If somebody knows who knows the email, and hopefully I'm going to post it as a post here, but let me just go over that name one more time here. Mad Jack 114 is the winner of the radio, and I'm happy that somebody's going to get to use it. To all the rest of you who set up for it, don't worry, there'll be more. There'll be more. I try to, give away 2 or 3 radios a year. Sometimes they're FM transmitters, sometimes just CBs. Maybe I'll start throwing in the walkie-talkies that I get to review. You know what I mean? All right, my friends, y'all have a good night. Take care.